You're listening to the Hero's Quest podcast, your source for creating the hero mindset and abandoning the victim mentality. I'm your host and life coach, Tim Holloway. Join me on the quest to unlock your inner hero and take responsibility for your life.
I wanted to share with you this article that I read recently, and I'll read you just a little bit of it. But two researchers who published their findings in the Journal of Psychology studied college students biased towards taking responsibility for themselves or making fraudulent excuses. There's nothing I could have done type, they found 72% of their subjects admitted making fraudulent excuses. Hardly a surprise. Far more interesting and damning, though, was the incredible correlation they found between fraudulent excuses and lower grade point averages. This is an amazing study, and it makes me think of two classes of people. There are those who make excuses and blame, and there are those who take responsibility and do whatever it takes. You see, if you've been victimized, it's a very good chance that you at some point have struggled with the victim mentality. You have faced circumstances that were beyond your control, that happened when you were powerlessness or defenseless, and you didn't have any control over the situation that happened to you. But what usually takes place is that we interpret that victimhood and we start believing everything that event communicated to us. What we could believe is that we are worthless, we are good for nothing, we are weak, we are not worthy of love and respect, and whatever it is, I can guarantee you that if you haven't decided to heal, then you have decided to play the victim. And I remember, like I said, being a teenager and being faced with all that. And I had to come to terms and to grips with the benefits that I was getting for being a victim. And one of them was attention. Oh, poor me. I'm just a little dirty white kid whose parents are white trash, and he's just a runaway, and the attention that I get for my past and everything that I've been through, and you don't understand what I've experienced. You've never walked in my shoes, and I had plenty of excuses. At that age, I had a good reason why I did what I did and why I behaved the way I did. And that kind of thinking got me a lot of attention, a lot of sympathy and pity from others. But one thing that it did not do was pull me up out of the pit. You see, as I'm there playing the violin, all it did was just keep me in the pit. And it began to reaffirm my ideas that, hey, I am benefiting from this sort of behavior. I'm getting attention. I'm getting sympathy. I'm getting pity. And this feels good because for once in my life, somebody is recognizing me. Somebody's paying attention to me. Somebody understands what I want and what I need. Another benefit I got from this victim mentality is assistance. Everybody would help me out and feed me and poor little white trash boy and let him spend the night. And, all these victim behaviors that just begin to reaffirm my victim card mentality. And so there's a path of excuses. This is the path of victimhood. And it goes something like this. Something happens, something takes place in our life, and we come to the conclusion that it is not our fault. Now, whatever it is, whether it's true victimization or just living in this world and saying, you know what, somebody else is responsible, I'm not to blame, this is not my fault. It all starts with not taking responsibility. And it's really coming to the realization that nobody owes you shit. Nobody in this world owes you a damn thing. And the path of excuses start, it's not my fault. I'm not taking responsibility for it. then that leads to feeling like you don't have control over the outcomes of your life. You see, if it's not your fault and it's not your responsibility, then you can't fix it. There's really nothing you could do but just go ahead and remain a victim. And when we start feeling that loss of control, we start feeling like a weak person. And it just reaffirms our lies to ourselves. And what that begins to do is begins to lower our motivation. Why? Because if I cannot control the outcomes, why do I even try? It's of no use. My problems are bigger than me. This situation is bigger than me. There's no use. And then that leads to bad results. It's no wonder you didn't get the results that you wanted because you didn't take responsibility for it. Therefore, you felt out of control and didn't take control over it. Therefore, it lowered your motivation. And therefore, you got this bad results. That is like a cycle. It just continues over and over and over until we find ourselves deep in the pit of this victim mentality. And the other is the path to success. When bad things happen to us, we just own them. It doesn't mean that we are the ones that perpetrate it, but we just take responsibility for our responses. And we begin to think about this. What could I have done differently? And it's understanding that, yes, an event may have happened to me, but now at this point, I get to choose my response. So how am I going to respond? I'm going to take responsibility. And guess what begins to happen? You begin to feel far more control over the situation and the environment. And you actually begin to assess the areas that you do have control over. And you feel a sense of empowerment saying, I will control the things that I can. And I'm telling you, this brings higher motivation. Why? Because you feel like you're in control. You feel like it's within your hands. It's within your capabilities. And that brings you higher motivation to do something about it. Because it's within your power. And guess what this brings you? This brings you better results. Because you are taking responsibility for your part. You are exercising the control over the things you can, and you feel highly motivated because of that. You get better results, and the end game is this. You have the hero mentality, and you're beginning to choose your response. You are beginning to take control over your life. You are exercising your authority over the things that are within your realm of capabilities. You're beginning to learn to govern your own self well. You're beginning to become the leader of your life. And you understand jurisdiction, that my life is my responsibility. My choice is my responsibility. My body is my territory. My mind belongs to me. And this is a powerful hero mentality. Remember today, I will be honorable. I will be empowered. I will be resilient, and I will take ownership for my life. In the link below, you'll find the Hero's Blueprint. That is the blueprint for success. Click on that. Download it. It's our free gift to you. Remember today to be your own hero and join us at wakethehero.com.
Hold up.